Welcome to part 4, the final part of Only in the Shadows of the Moon. Thank you for following along so far. I'm really super excited to finish this one up, and I've actually been working on the new one already, and I can't wait to get to that one for you guys. This is fun, and I'm really enjoying myself. So I'm doing a kind of a Halloweenish painting here, and I'm super excited to put you work to get to the point where you get to put all the details and little shiny bits in. And that's what I'm looking forward to doing today, getting this one finished up, wrapped up, and then moving on to the next one. So get your paintbrushes out, get your paintbrushes wet, make sure your palette's been misted over, and let's get going. Okay, so the first thing I want to do today is I'm going to come in first. I'm going to paint. What did I get on my paint? That's funny. I had a little dab of paint on my hand, and I just smeared my bird's eyeball. No biggie. But what I'm going to come in and do is I want to come in and get one more undercoat done. I still want to be able to maintain these real dark areas that I already did, but get this coated. Then we're going to jump back on this tree, highlight, detail that. And by the time we get done with that, we're going to hop back on the bird and get that finished up. So with that being said, let's jump right in. I'm going to grab my number 6 flat sable brush. Again, this is a sable natural hair flat brush. Synthetics they work, but I like the way these natural bristles work. So I'm going to come into my dark black and just get up in here and get busy with it. I got my reference of my Raven up, and I got to do something about the shiny ferrule. When I'm trying to paint for the camera, I end up getting this glare that becomes difficult for me to see sometimes. It's okay. And what I really like about, one of the big things I like about working on canvas or on acrylic is I can rest my hand after I've done some work on a painting. You can rest your hand on it and not mess up all the work you've done. So I can rest my hand on here for some leverage. And I'm redarkening areas that I want to be super dark and just kind of flipping out some feathers there. Looks good. And now I want to get the paint on not so thin, because I want to come down here and get this going with these feathers here. And like I said before, I'm going to make these a little bit longer than what my reference photo shows. And let's come down. We have one here. It looks like we got some feathers kind of kicking out down here. I kind of like that. I might want to get that just to make it look like it fits better in this position. Like that. And I'm kind of going off of varying from my reference, but that's what you do when you're painting. If you need to make a variation to make it fit your scheme, make that variation. This little thing right there. And you can see it's still kind of transparent, but where I'm going over where I had the dark places to begin with, I'll know where those shadows are supposed to be when I come back and add highlights, which works out in acrylic. Alright. Now you can still see where I had the dark shadows that I wanted cast in there. Let's let this dry, cure, and we'll jump right over to the tree. All right, got more work to do there. So the color we used on the bark for the highlight was the black, the pile we had made up. So I'll take some of this black, come over here, and we added in a touch of this blue, which we used for the shadow on the back of the tree, and then cad red light. It's a kind of a reddish mauve color, but I'm going to need to come in and add some gesso to it because I want this highlight to be brighter. So let's see how this, yep, not enough. So more gesso and maybe just a touch more cad red. Let's see what that looks like. Nope, still not enough. It's kind of cool, but I want it a little bit brighter, so more gesso. More gesso, there we go. Let's see what that looks like. Nope, I pretty much just nailed it and got the same thing I had before. But we can come over here. I kind of wanted to get this area by the knot hole brightened up a little bit. And I'm going to add a little more of this bluish highlight to kind of really highlight the backside of this tree more. But I definitely got to get the edge up one notch. Let's see if this does anything. Right here. There we go. And not a lot. And this kind of looks like it's sweeping over, yeah, like that. Get down here to where this little broken nub is sitting. That works for me, so keep that going. Get over here. And you got to be careful not to paint over everything you've already done. You're just kind of tapping in, making it a little bit brighter. And I'm going to make it just a little bit brighter. Right here, I want that to stick out a little bit more. And right here, that looks good. And I have a little bit of gesso on the tip of my brush, and I'm just adding touches of little sparkly bits that are really getting hit by the moonlight, and we're going to do more of the moonlight. Don't need to go too hog wild in here because of the contrast of the bright moon, but that branch definitely needs brightened up. Yeah. Kind of following the contour. That looks cool. Now I think right there, next to the bird, let's get some more in there. That's going to have to be sparklied up a little bit. Now is where we will come in and brighten that up a little bit more cad red, a little bit more gesso. And this is going to be relatively thick, not real thin paint here, because we are just adding some of these hot spot highlights. And this is where it gets difficult for me. I'm trying to keep out of the way of the camera, but get done what I have in my head. I'm learning. I'm figuring it out. Don't lose my reference of my raven. Okay, come up here. I'm going to come up there to that branch that's in the dark part of the sky. Tilt my head so I can see from past the reflection of my paintbrush. I like this. Get that. And you'll see how we're going to come in and add some moonlight sparkles to it. This one's kind of cast behind this one, so I'm not going to make it, I'll make it as dark, like right, or light brighten it up a little bit right in here. Bring that down and kind of feather it down a little bit more. Maybe, said I wasn't gonna, but I'm gonna, just a touch in here. Like there's another knot hole right there. And I think that is gonna take care of that part. I am gonna come back in this bluish, so I gotta clean my brush out. And what this was I'm going to take and scrape off my palette here where I had it, because I've been mixing other colors and working on the other painting I'm ready to do for the next one. I love this. It forces me to paint. All right, so I'm going to take some gesso. Doesn't need to be a lot here. Take some gesso, ultramarine blue, just a touch of purple. Perfect. I think that's perfect. And I'm going to come in here. I want this to be relatively on the thin side, more like a wash. Let's see how this looks. I think it looks a little bit too white. I think I need more blue. So add more blue. And maybe just a touch more purple. Okay, try that. That's better. Cool. Let's keep going with that. When I get super quiet, I'm just focused. Sometimes things just don't need to be said. That's what my wife tells me anyway. A little bit more. Don't leave that so dark in just the middle. Okay, cool looking there. Need a little bit more paint. Touch more blue. And there we go. Yeah, we're getting there now. We're cooking with oil. How do I do this without turning everything on its side? Here, I'll try. I don't like having the paintbrush so close to the ferrule as I'm painting, but in an effort to instruct, I'm going to pull a muscle here trying to get this done. Get that out of there. Come back and fix what I just did. Now, I think that looks fun. I'm going to turn this all the way upside down because I want this to be brighter. I want this to stick out a little bit more. And this a little bit more. And this just a little bit more. And then nice. All right. I think I might let's try something here. I'm going to take my number 4 wobbly old number 4 script brush. And I wonder if we were to just drop in some branches, like there's another tree next to this one. I'll take that. And also, if I have enough paint, come down here where we intentionally made this dark. Not light enough. How in the world Did I get so much paint on my hand? I never, hardly ever do that. I shouldn't say never. I need to get that off my hand. Otherwise, I'm going to have it all over myself in the house. Okay. Get rid of that. I think it's all over my paintbrush is what I think. Yep. All right. I must have dropped it in the palette. Come back here. Get some gesso. Yeah, this brush is gone. I'm going to have to get to the art store, which is like one of my favorite stores to go into. And let's come down here. And that's not all we'll do. Okay. Enough of that crazy brush. Now I am going to grab my number 4 flat sable, and I'm going to come down to my moon color, which I just scooted over. Let's see if this is going to be bright enough. Okay, now and what we're doing is we're putting a silver lining, a glow outline from where the moonlight's coming around. You can see what I'm doing. Not drawing a specific line. I'm leaving little notches like the light is bouncing off of the bark. Same thing here. And right here, you'll see, and I'm putting this on super thick. You can see how much paint I've got on the brush. I'm just kind of skimming across the canvas, trying to get the canvas to take some off. This is where it's kind of good sometimes to have a shaky hand. All right, I gotta come up here. Now you can see where the light coming through is going to be, it's going to block and leave a shaded area right there. So we've got all that. This little spot right here underneath the bird. And this silver lining, it works pretty well on clouds and things too. Let's go ahead and get a little bit on the other side. And I might need to come back and just make a couple a little bit brighter, but let's see. Okay. See if I continue to like that or not. And then I think I will switch brushes over to my beat up number 4. Get some paint thick on the end of that. Come here and just try and skim. Keep this coming down. Don't want a whole lot over on the edge. You want it mainly in the middle here to kind of keep the attention focused that way. But then again, I'll come in here. Let's definitely do that to kind of draw your eye into the painting. And then kind of heavy right there. Yeah, this brush is gone. There we go. Maybe it's there again too. Maybe a little bit down here. And I'm just hunting and pecking now, trying to find places that look, maybe the light's hitting. And I am good with that. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to sit with it. I think I might be too bright yet, and the transition is not enough, but I'm going to give it some time and start working here on the bird. So I am going to go back to my number 4 flat sable, get it cleaned out, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to take some gesso and some blue. And I want this to be kind of a dark blue to start out, in the same area where I mixed up the blue for the backside of the tree. I just want this to be a little bit bluer, so I'll make it a little bit darker. And I think let's see how this looks. All right, using my reference photo now, and where it looks like it's white, I'm going to put in blue-ish. And this is where it could get like super boring watching detail. I'm going to take the brush and I'm going to get a little bit of water in it. And then I'm going to take and fan it out. And I'm going to come in here and start. It's not fanned out enough. There we go. I guess I should keep my eye on the canvas. Take my eyes off and keep painting as I'm looking at my reference, and I made a big old smudge. All right, now keep that. I like the color. So I got it real where the bird's flight wings are. It's pretty heavy, and leave a little bit of space in between so you know that there's feathers there. And see my first shadow indicated, so I'm going to come in here and just start making some brush strokes for feathers. It doesn't have to be perfect. It is not perfect. I know that. I'm not trying to make a perfect one. And then hold my brush back. Come back in here. I can see. Let's take a look here. We got these flight wings. Coming along. You got to get all this underneath stuff done before you can pop on your final highlights. I like that. Now I want to, this is a little bit heavier handed. And then there's another row that starts right there, comes down. That's soft. How far does this get out in front? Keep that going. This part right here. And it's got a little more water in it, so it'll dry up a little bit darker, and that's why I'm kind of tamping it as I go. Underneath that, these feathers start going for the long flight feathers. Gosh, I'm having too much coffee today. Yeah, see how those darkened up just by me tamping on them? Just perfect what I wanted. Yeah, looking cool. Keep that going down to these feathers down here. And they start, there's a shadow underneath, so I'll start here. And then this comes in a little ways. Yeah. And I think I'm just going to, I'm going to stop looking at my reference for a minute and look at my painting. I need that to come in front of that branch. There we go. And then, again, this is how I paint, so I'm just going to share with you. I want this to be a feather, and let the brush gradually run out of paint. And this transition right here needs to be just brightened up a little bit more so it doesn't look like that wing is just coming out of nowhere. And all right. And now, what I'm going to do with the same color that I just used in the bird is come back in here, make sure I've got that same color toned in. And what I mean by that is I changed the tonal value of the blue a little bit, and if I don't add that back in, the rest of it, the continuity of the painting will be kind of lost. Now, let's get, I need to come back to the black, get that put on pretty thick. And come back and start working on this. Right underneath that eye. Come down here. Now I'm just going back and just trying to define and focus the shaded areas where I can still see through the canvas. So So this is pretty much all it is at this point. It's just going through, touching stuff up. And that's what I'm going to do. Again, to me, that's the fun part of it. You do all that work to get to this point. And you know what? I got that kind of. Let's do this. Finish up with this real heavy black. And there's the bird's foot I was always so concerned about. Yeah, okay. And then I know I've got some of those furry feathers, so let's get some black put down. Get off of there. I did it again. Thick, a lot of paint on there. Get back here. You can tell I'm super focused. I'm not saying much. This is the part that, again, like I said, I just enjoy the most. Coming back in and putting on things that tie everything you've worked for together. I want this to come out in front of there you go. Front of that branch. Get off of there. Pretty happy with the bird. I need to do the eye, and this is, I'm going to have to take my crappy old number 4, see if I can do this with this brush. You could technically take a smaller one and do this, but I'm going to try, and I'm going to zoom in on my reference photo here to get close to that eyeball so I can see. Now, do that, and then there's this little like that. Let's come back with that same brush. Jeez, I can't even get it to clean off. Get some black. And come in here. Wow, that brush is mangled. Decent, but I think I need to take this. I'm going to take just a touch of this moon color, and I'm going to come in here. Let's see. Yeah. And I'm also going to hit the tip of the beak. And I'm going to skim a little bit right in through there. Well, that brush is gone. And I think I need to bring that beak out a little bit. So I'll come back a little bit more black. Now let's get this. Nope, needs to be blue, not black. That works. Okay. All right. Last thing I need to do here is finish these underbelly feathers. So I'm going to come back to this pile of blue. I'm going to take some off to the side. I'm going to grab some of this red that we used on the tree bark. I'm going to tone that blue down a little bit. And I don't want it green. I accidentally got it in green. Dang it. It's all right. Let's see how that goes. Make this thin. And now I see these little feathers that are real delicate. More on there. Get that brush fanned out. There we go. How far down does that go? And work into the area that's dark. And then we'll come back and blot that. And then we can also wipe some of that out. And it looks like you can see some of the, there we go. And this will tone down when it dries. Last thing I'm going to do there is just add some more blue, brighter blue. I'm just going to add a little bit of gesso to my blue mix here. Make it a little bit thicker. And then highlight this a little bit. Not too much. That's the big thing. Just not too much. Come back to my wobbly old number 4. Get some of this blue on that. And I can see in my reference photo that they've got these, I forget what they're called. There we go. The follicle part of the feather, I don't know. But I've got to paint it in. Yeah. All right. So this is the part that gets a little bit tricky for me sitting here. I'm going to take my number 4 sable brush and I'm going to mix up a real purpley batch of Hooker's green. Let's just come right there. Hooker's green and purple. A little more purple. So what I'm going to do is spread this out. I want those bristles to be nice and spread out. Test over here. And then I'm going to start adding, and this is where I normally would have to stand up. I might have to, but I'm going to come in here and just pull straight down. And just find spots where some old moss is hanging from the tree. Yeah, it's a problem when I'm sitting the wrong direction. Pull straight down. A little more paint. Let's put some here. And I like that. Oh, I'm going to straighten this up somehow. Add some down here at the bottom. And I think I got to get this one kind of light back here. And I think we can call this that only in the shadow of the moon can we see this image. Okay, so let's end it here. You guys can mess around with this and play with it, add more, change it, do whatever you want. I just wanted to get through the process of showing you how to get this done. And you know what? I did forget one thing. Let's stop for 1 sec. I needed to add to my bird's tail. See, that's the problem. You always sit there and think, oh, I'm done. No, you're not. A painting is never finished. You just get tired of dealing with it. So I'm going to come in here. If I can do this real lightly. Can you see that? Let's just brighten it up a touch. A little bit more, just a little brighter there. Okay, I can sit here and do this all day. So let's go ahead and call this one done. I will put my signature on it real quick. I'm going to use the CAD Red Pure. And I'm going to put my signature over in a corner. And then come back in here and just tap in some of that red. And call it. Okay, so that's it for this painting. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something that you can utilize on it. Again, you could do, a bunch more branches and different things, highlights, whatever you want. I hope you enjoyed doing this, and I can't wait for the next one. Actually, the next one I'm super excited about. I've been working on it, and I'm getting ready to. It's going to be a November Thanksgiving theme. So I look forward to seeing you then. And if there's any questions on anything we've done or you have any comments about it, please leave me a comment below. And also, if there's something you want to see that you'd like me to try and paint, I'd be happy to take a look at that. Thanks for joining. Please subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Okay, so I was editing the video for the final, and I kind of noticed it when I was doing it, but I was in the interest of trying to keep continuity to the video. I really messed up this part right here compared to on the reference material I've got. So from the eyeball to the beak is about the same. Eyeball to the beak, into the beak. That hot spot shouldn't have been until about here, right about here. All I'm going to do is come back in here. And the way it sits right now, it looks like he's shrugging his shoulders, and I don't like it. So it's up to me to fix it. So I will. And fairly easy fix. And again, that's the benefit of using the same paints over and over again. You can always get close. And I lose down at an angle. So I will come down at an angle. And of course, this is where you get into all of a sudden you can come back and dilly-dally and putz around with things forever. I'm going to try and avoid that and just show the quick fix for what I did wrong. Now, this distance here is about that distance there. So a little bit more, actually. It's not black in here, but I will fix it with some blue here in a sec. Okay. Now, just going to have to come back because I'm working on a different painting. Just come back with some blue and some gesso. A little bit more gesso. Squish out my brush there. And then I'm going to come back in with just one more, a little bit more of the gesso in there. And let's see if I can make this as quick as I wanted to. It's got a little bit of a swoop right there. Anyway, I've corrected where I had him as a hunchback. For the most part, I mean, it could be, I could sit here and dilly-dally with that, but I just wanted to show a real quick fix to something that I did wrong and caught. And that is the simplicity of working with acrylic. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that. That's the fix. If you take your time and if you did what I did, that's how you fix it. If you didn't, enjoy the painting. Thanks.